Welcome to this week's edition of Black Authors Matter TV, where we interview the latest movers and shakers in the African American literary community. You'll meet some old friends, discover new ones, and stay abreast of the latest book developments around the country and even the world. So sit back and relax for the next 2 hours with Black Authors Matter TV co-hosts Gwen Richardson and Dr. Rhonda Lawson.
Good evening and welcome to the January 21st edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host for tonight, along with my co-host,
Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Good evening, everyone.
And we hope you all are staying warm. I was telling Rhonda, we got snow in Houston, and that is something we hardly ever get. It's like once every 10 years we get a dusting. This one is still on the ground.
And y'all don't know how to act.
We don't. The whole city shut down for an inch of snow. So that's the truth. But it was pretty. We don't get to see it, and it's cold where you are too, and everywhere north of that.
We still have snow on the ground. It hasn't snowed in almost a week, but we still have a lot of snow on the ground.
Yeah. Well, Houston. Here we can say it'll be hot soon enough because we get a little bit of break, and then it's hot. Well, I have a few announcements before we bring on our first guest. And number one, the registrations for this year's National Black Book Festival open January 1st. We are already at 30% sold through.
Awesome.
That's never happened ever. We are twice as far as we were last year. So the point where we are now is where we were at the end of February last year in terms of registrations. So at this pace, we are going to sell out by April. If the pace keeps up, and it is daily, we're getting registrants. So if you plan to attend, please don't procrastinate, because I'm estimating the end of April, it'll be sold out. And once we sell out all our space, we can't, and we do have a build-in for drop-offs. So once we're sold through, we can't take any more registrations. The hotel rooms are already set as well, and we will be, they're $99. If you go to our website and click the logo, it says, click here, and you can get your hotel reservation for the festival. And the Black Authors Matter Children's Book Awards process has opened as well. So that's ongoing. If you have a children's book that came out in 2020, we expanded the years. So if it came out in 2023, well, copyright, 2023, 2024, 2025, you can submit your book. And finally, the 2025 edition of my book on debt-free college will be out in about a week. I'm waiting for my proof to come before I pull the trigger on the whole thing. And so as soon as I see that, it'll be available. And also it will be given as gifts to the students at Rhonda's event, her Black History Month event next month. So having said that, I'm going to give a little time after this first interview so Rhonda can talk a little bit about her event and give some updates on that. So we're going to bring on our first guest. Oh, we have one book we're giving away, but not now. We'll give it away later. So our first guest is Robbi Renee. And Robbi is under the umbrella of Black Odyssey Media. Her book came out the end of December. It is called Somebody's Husband. And she is a romance author, and we welcome her to Black Authors Matter TV. And if you could unmute, Robbi, so we can hear you, that would be great.
Hello, how's everybody?
Great,
How are you?
Now you're joining us from?
I live in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay. Did you all get snow?
So I'm from St. Louis. So yes, they got some snow, but it was like a tablespoon.
Okay, I know, not based on the same. It wasn't St. Louis snow. I talked to somebody yesterday that called me about snow, or was it this morning? Anyway, she said she was from St. Louis, and she said she understood that when we get snow, it's a big deal. And we got
It's a
snow in
big deal.
Houston.
Yes,
So
yes. So we're just waiting for it to melt.
yeah,
I say y'all are getting excited and don't know how to act. You should see all the snow on the ground here in DC area.
Oh, I can only imagine. I don't miss it at all, so I'm not complaining.
yeah, yeah. I'm from the East Coast, and so I grew up with it. But it's pretty. But I'm glad we get to see it every 10 years, a little bit, and then it melts and then it's gone.
Right.
But anyway,
Exactly.
you're
Exactly.
going to be joining us at the National Black Book Festival. I saw
I
this
am.
register,
I
so
am.
we
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah look forward to meeting you in person. And
Yes.
you may or may not know, Rhonda is the literary correspondent at the festival. She has been for several years,
Yeah, so
and
I do all of the interviews with the featured authors, and I also like to walk around and get to know some of the authors who are on the floor as well. And
Nice.
so I post all throughout the event, so I can help to promote the not just the festival, but the authors who are a part of it.
That's awesome. I'm so excited. I've wanted to do it like the last couple years, and I always miss the deadline.
Well,
okay,
you
well,
got started early this time.
yeah, I was telling the people, well, I was announcing that we're already at 30% in terms of sell through. So we will probably sell out of space by April. And
That's
and a lot of
awesome.
times, people will wait till June. They figure, okay, I got plenty
Mm-hmm.
of time. And normally we sell out in July. But this year it's I don't know. I don't know. It's maybe the more the word got out or people are doing more books. So sometimes people will do a resolution. They want to get out more in 2025
Yeah.
with their books. And
Right.
so, but we're excited about it. And we're having a big Divine Nine push this
Yeah.
year as well. So that's going to
Yeah.
be really, really nice. We're going to do some special things for the Divine Nine authors, and we're inviting the Divine Nine chapters all over the state to
Oh, that's
attend.
awesome. Yes, that's my chapter will definitely be there. So
Awesome. What
Wonderful.
sorority are you in?
I'm a Delta.
Oh, you're a Delta. Okay, I'm a
Yeah,
Zeta.
contrary to the colors in my background.
I know because you're looking real Zeta-ish back there.
That's true. You have those Zeta colors in your background.
Like Zeta or SG Row, one of the two. No,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
Oh yeah,
because
Zeta.
of
because you do have the gold
because of
chair too. I
the
see it.
chair on the
These are
side.
my
It could
favorite
be
colors, but crimson. I bleed crimson. So
Oh, it's all
okay.
good. It's all Greek love. Every year I always call all the Greeks to the front so we can take a photo together. And
nice.
I noticed that Gwen took that's the photo that Gwen used to send out to all of the Divine Nine. We want to make sure that we celebrate our Divine Nine authors.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to look for you. I mean I'll be repping Zeta, of course, but like I said, it's all it's all
It's
divine.
all love, like you said. It's all love.
Yeah. And we're also going to be doing we're doing a monthly newsletter to the D9 organizations across the state. And each edition of that'll be separate from our regular newsletter that we send out to, everybody, the broad one.
Mhm.
This will go specifically to the D9 organizations. But every month we're going to be listing the names of the authors from each organization that have registered with the link to their website so people can
Awesome.
contact with
Awesome.
them and
Yeah,
all
so
that.
I put it in my information. I'm also a member of the links.
I
So
saw that,
I
and we
have,
are reaching out to the
Nice,
links and Jack
nice.
and
yeah,
Jill. So we're
yeah,
doing all of them. So
that's
um,
awesome.
we look forward. So do you have a copy of your brand new book that just came out? Somebody's husband.
Of course, I have it right here next to me.
Okay. And it came out December, Christmas Eve.
December 24th. Yep, it
Okay.
came
Sounds
out
kind of
Christmas
spicy.
Eve. It's not, this is not as spicy as I can get,
Oh,
but
Okay.
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 but it has a little spice to it. It has a little spice to it.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
tell us the
Well, tell
the
us.
plot.
Yes, so Somebody's Husband, it is about a man by the name of Dr. Dresden Xavier. He is a cancer research specialist who is partaking in a special cancer research for Black men dealing with colon cancer. and he actually lost his wife to cancer. So this is more of a second time around, second chance at love type of romance book. And he meets Harper Kingsley, who is a nurse that is working with him at the clinic, where they both are dealing with some grief and some loss in their lives as adults, and trying to figure out, how do I do this after losing the love of my life, who I thought would be, the love of my life. So it is a little deceiving when you see somebody's husband at the title, but it really, the root of it is Dresden knows that he wants to be a husband. Like, that is what he is destined to be, and he lost that. So he's trying to figure out, can he find that again?
Okay, now
Well, it
somebody
sounds like
asked,
a
can they see
really,
the cover again? So can you put it a little closer
yeah,
to the camera
Yes.
so people can see it? Because somebody did
very
ask.
nice. It sounds like a very emotional book.
It is. It is. So trigger warning, if you have, lost a loved one to cancer, or lost a loved one, period. Definitely trigger warning. It gets pretty sad, dealing with some things about grief, but it definitely comes back around. It is a happy ending. It is a romance, but it is a heavy read as well. So definitely not something you want to just go into lightly. You want to make sure
Right.
that you're prepared for some of the content that's in the book.
Well, thanks for the
So,
warning on that.
yeah, does
Yes.
the book start after the death of his wife, or I don't want to do any spoilers, but I'm just asking
Yes.
plot wise.
Yes, the book does start after the death of his wife. However, his wife, while Dresden and Harper are the two main characters, I kind of feel like Nina is an additional character. She's also a character in the book, although she has passed on. She really is convincing him that it's time for him to get out and start trying to find himself again and find love again. So she really does play a huge part in Dresden and Harper's love story, although she's passed on. But it does start after his wife has passed on.
So either her
Okay.
memory or her ghost
Yeah.
is prominent. And
Well, don't make it sound morbid, Gwen.
Yes,
not
yes.
morbid. It could be her
It's more of
spirit.
him
Maybe I
looking,
shouldn't say her ghost, her spirit. Is that better?
yeah, he's looking to her as his kind of spiritual guidance, and he, she comes to him in the form of the wind blowing, or different things like that. So he
Mhm.
knows when Nina is trying to talk to him and tell him, get up, go. Yes, you should go and have dinner with this woman, or you should go and talk to her. So Nina definitely plays an important part in the book as well.
I think this is a great book for widowers. I think a lot of times the attention is given to widows and women in particular, and sometimes we forget that men who have lost their wives, who were possibly the love of their lives, they don't easily get over that.
Absolutely.
When I first moved to the DMV, I was introduced to a very attractive man, but he was a widower. And not only was he
Mhm.
a widower, his wife had died like just about a year before I met him. I
Oh, wow.
knew this man was not ready to date. He was not
That's
ready to
right.
date at all, but he was trying. And then as soon as he started to get a little bit close, he pulled back. So I was like, okay, that's enough of that. We can be friends.
Yes,
But
yes.
no,
It's
you're not gonna put me through the emotions because you're dealing with your
That's
emotions.
right. That's definitely a process. And I think I did a IG live talk, I guess maybe a couple weeks before Christmas, with a
Hmm.
friend who's also a therapist, who also is the wife of a widow. And we just talked about her journey through, dating a man who had lost his wife and had children, or a child with her, and what that experience was for her. And kind of similarly, it was like, we can be friends right now. And they kind of
Hmm.
circle back to each other later on. But he wasn't ready. And then when he was ready, the time just came together, and they were able to, get together, and now have been married, I don't know, 10 years, I think.
That's good. That's
So
good.
yeah, so it happens. It happens, definitely.
Yeah, it just takes patience.
It takes patience, absolutely.
Now it sounds kind of like he's a man who would like to be a husband again, and there's a prevailing thought, attitude, or trope maybe that men like run from marriage. So,
Mhm.
what made you write about a man who desires to be a husband?
Yeah, so I don't know if you all watched it was kind of a docu-series called Black Love that came out, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
I used to watch that every once in a while, and there were some really great
Loved,
love stories.
loved that show. And there was a couple on the show where the wife had dealt with breast cancer in the past, and the breast cancer actually came back and started to spread. And she decided to stop doing treatment. But in the episode, she was talking about, like, babe, I want you to find love again. You are such an amazing husband. Somebody deserves to be loved this way. And I was like, whoa, that takes a
That's
lot for her to
yeah.
know that she's dying and to really encourage her husband. So that story always kind of stayed with me. And eventually after that aired, I think she passed away maybe like a few months after that. And fast forward some years, I've always wondered, like, what happened to him? Like, what is he doing? Because they had kids and all these kind of things. So that's really where the story came from.
I was
Is
just going to ask you what inspired you to write this story. And
Yeah,
it's funny that, well, maybe not funny, but it's funny that it was that show, Black
yeah,
Love, that inspired that, because I didn't watch every episode, but there were some beautiful love stories in
absolutely.
on that show. But that one in particular, I didn't see that one, but I could see why that would have inspired you.
And it just, that story stuck with me. They were in their 40s, and I'm in my 40s. I have a husband. We have children, and I'm thinking like, wow, would I be that kind of woman?
Right.
If God forbid I was dying for knowing that I'm dying, and would I be that type of woman to be like, babe, you deserve to have love and to find your next true love? I don't know. So it was very interesting to actually write about it and see the journey that Dresden had to take. And even Harper in this story, she's kind of dealing with her own type of grief. I don't want to give any spoilers, but she's dealing with her own type of grief with the loss of a loved one. So they're also trying to make sure, are we just like swapping grief? Are we just
Mm.
together because we're both, dealing with grief in our lives at the same around the same time? So they really had to explore that too, to determine, am I just jumping into something just because we both know what loss feels like, or is this truly love for us?
That's a mature question.
It is.
That's a very
Yes.
mature question.
Yes.
Mhm.
And they're in their mid-40s. They had to have mature conversations. They're in their mid-40s.
Right, right. They're not kids. Um, there was an episode of Law and Order where the original Law and Order and the earlier seasons, like up to maybe 12 or something like that. But anyway, there was an episode about a couple that met in a support group for the relatives of 9/11 victims, the people
Mm.
who died in 9/11. And it ended up turning out to have a twist at the end. But they met in the support group. And I get, if you're grieving about another person, I'm wondering if that's enough to hold this. It's a commonality, but is it enough
Mhm.
to hold the relationship together long term?
Right. And I don't think it is. And I think
I
that's
think you have to have
what,
more than that, because that's gonna
yeah,
eventually fade. Not,
absolutely.
you'll grieve your loved one, but in order for you to be with somebody else, it has to fade. Somewhat.
Absolutely.
You can't, trying
And
to
they
trying to
really,
do on the rebound. That's like being on the rebound if you're just trying to
Right.
separate.
exactly.
You know.
Same thing, just a
Hmm.
little heavier than just losing your boyfriend and he went off and
Right.
found somebody else. But
Right.
and they do explore those topics in the book of making sure, like, do we even like each other? And they actually
Mhm.
did. And it was very like cute and flirtatious. And that's what I really liked about it, because Dresden had been with his wife since they were in college in their
Mm-hmm.
20s. And
Mhm.
now, she passed away in her early 40s. So she was literally all that he knew in terms of a woman. So even
Right.
looking at this woman, like, she's nothing like Nina. How can I even be attracted to her, like her, any of those things? Because she was nothing like his deceased wife. And he really had to kind of go through and explore those things.
Yeah, it's almost better if she's not, because then you're trying to substitute a person who's, you
Right.
can't live up
Right.
to
Exactly.
someone's spirit. I'll use spirit instead of coach.
Absolutely.
You can't live up to that. If they're still
I mean,
longing for the other person and they see
yeah.
you as a substitute, you can't live up to that. That's
Yeah,
a
what
bar.
woman even
Yeah,
living wants to
yeah,
see
exactly.
the person looking like them, acting like them? Like,
You're
Right.
right
I
about
don't think
that.
I would want
Pictures
that.
all over the place or whatever. That would just be too much.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. And they deal with that as well in the book.
did you talk to any like relationship experts or psychologists or anybody? Because with this type of story, you want to make sure that you get it right. Somebody may be reading this story because they're trying
Yeah.
to figure out their own situation.
Yeah, so like I said, I definitely talked to my friend who went through this herself, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also a therapist as well. So she's dealt with folks dealing with grief and loss and all of those types of things. So she was definitely able to kind of help me. I think too, I did a lot of research about you know, grief counseling. I went on websites to try to figure out like what are the supports that are out there? What are some of the
Right.
things that can happen? So when you're dealing with that kind of topic, even just his profession, as a writer, I have to do my research. Like I can't just assume that I know what it means to be a doctor, a
What do you
cancer
mean you don't
research
know?
specialist at that. Like I have a journalism degree. I do not have a medical degree. So
Yeah,
I
it's
have to do a lot of
fiction, but it
research.
still needs to be factual.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You can't,
Exactly. So I
go
didn't
off
want to
the left
use
field.
words that I didn't know what they meant, especially if it was medical terms, because if, a real doctor is actually reading this, they're gonna be like, oh, she has no clue what she's talking about. So the research was definitely important.
Now, is
Absolutely.
this your first book?
No, this is actually my 14th book.
Oh,
I
Oh,
wow.
started writing in,
congratulations.
thank you. I started writing in 2019, published my first book in 2020.
You've written
And
14 books in less than 5 years?
I
You
know
are a
that's,
writing somebody. It's probably that journalism in
Mhm. You are.
you.
and I kind of think like, oh, I need to do more. And then when I hear people say that, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty fast, the pace, because that's like 3 a year average.
Yeah, and that's about right. I like to do about 3 to 4 books a year if I can. Last year was a different year, so I'll have to catch up this year. But I started writing in 2020 just as a challenge to myself, actually. I joke with people and always say, I was either gonna be an alcoholic during COVID or channel that energy in some other kind of way.
Well, we're
So
glad
I
you chose
channeled
the
it in
latter.
another way. I chose the other way. And I joined kind of a writing group with a group of other Black women, and we wrote a holiday series of short stories. All of us, our first time publishing a book. And I just kind of got the bug and kept writing and kept writing and kept writing. So, and fast forward to now, I've published now 14 books, and this is my first book under Black Odyssey Media, which has been an amazing experience. I'm just excited for what's to come and what the next steps are.
Okay.
Wow. So how do you find the passion, not so much the passion, but the inspiration? To be able to write 3 books a year, those are a lot of ideas swirling around your
Yeah.
head. That there's probably a lot of time that you have to allot to writing. So how do you keep your ideas in line,
Yeah.
and how do you find the time to get the writing done?
Yep, those are great questions. So in terms of the ideas, I can find inspiration in anything. Clearly, I was looking at a TV
Yeah, you
show
look.
and it stuck
Hey,
with me.
those are some good
So
inspirations.
I can find inspiration in just about anything. And I have a pretty vivid imagination, and I always have. So I've always loved to like write and journal and write poems and just have some kind of creative outlet. So I
Right.
think for me, the inspiration comes through anything. And, I don't know if you've seen those t-shirts. It's like, I'm an author. Anything you say is like fair game. It
Yes.
can end up in the book. So my
Yes.
friends are like, oh my God, we, took a girls trip and suddenly I see things that happened at our girls trip in a book. Like, so stuff, I can get inspiration anywhere. And I think in terms of like how I keep it all together is I give myself time between books. I award myself with being able to read books of my favorite authors. So I take a break so I can kind of turn my brain off and fangirl on the people that I love to, read their books. I'm an audiobook lover, so I can listen to audiobooks.
Thank you. Finally, another
Yeah.
audiobook lover on
Yes,
this show. I
yes.
keep telling people audiobooks are the jam. They don't want to listen to
The-
me.
and
I
if you
can't.
have the right narrators,
Yes.
it makes you
Okay.
feel like you're in a movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Like you are literally in a movie. If you have the right narrators. Now, a narrator can make or break. They can
Okay.
make or
I
break.
was at the
I hear
gym
you.
today and I was listening to an audiobook, and this is actually a British audiobook. So
Mm,
you have to get past the accent, but it made sense because the story takes place in
yes,
England. So
yes,
it's best to have a British narrator. But I'm
absolutely.
enjoying the story so far.
Absolutely. And I used to do audiobooks like spiritual, self-help. I would do those in audio anyway, because I like to write down and
Yeah,
kind
that
of
makes sense.
but then when I listened to my first romance audiobook, I was like, oh, this is the life. Like
Sometimes when they get to the sex scenes, though, I got to turn it down. I'm like, somebody might be hearing me.
you definitely need headphones.
Yes.
You can't turn it up too loud in the car. You pull up to the gas station, people like, whoa, what are you listening
Right.
to? Um, but
Well,
I just get inspiration from just about anything. I give myself time. I don't rush. So if it takes me 3 months or if it takes me 6 months to write a book, I'm okay with that. Black Odyssey Media may not like that because I'm on deadlines, but I do like to give myself time.
okay. Well, we're at the end of our time for the interview. I did want to say one of our viewers is the Social Book Club. I don't know who the administrator is for that group, but they watch the show. And she said she just purchased an autographed copy of your book on the link that was posted. So you got a sale
Awesome. Thank
already,
you.
at least
Yes,
one.
I will
And
be met. Well, I couldn't get out the house today, so I'll be mailing all the things. If we can get out tomorrow and the streets are clear, I will definitely be putting all the books in the mail.
okay, well,
That's
show us
wonderful.
the cover of your book one more time.
Yes, Somebody's
Okay, Somebody's
Husband by
Husband
Robbie
by
Renee.
Robin Renee.
Yes,
And
you can
we
get it
will,
everywhere books are sold,
okay.
including Target. I'm so excited. I finally got to see it in
Yay,
Target. So I'm so
Congratulations.
excited.
Target.
Well, we will see you in October at the National Black Book Festival.
Yes,
And
thank you
until
so
then,
much.
I hope you sell a ton of books.
I hope so too.
Thank you
Have a
so
good
much
one.
for
Thank
being a
you.
guest on the
Bye.
show. Okay, have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay, Rhonda, I wanted to give some time so you can talk about your literary event coming up.
Oh,
And
sure.
it's coming up pretty quickly.
It
Things come up
is.
fast.
I can't believe it's
It's a
like a
month,
month
right?
away.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Look at
absolutely
that.
1 week, 1 month away. So it's the Black History Month Literary Weekend. This is my ninth annual Black History
Yay.
Month Literary Weekend, and I'm super excited about it because it's going to be our biggest one yet. Even though the 10th year is going to be even bigger. I'm not even getting into that one right now, but it's going to start on February 20th. We're going to have a books and wine event at a Black-owned winery in DC called Urban Grape DC. Now that event is already at capacity. We've already reached capacity on that one, so I'm very excited about that. And we reached capacity probably 2 weeks ago. So that's awesome. And now on the 21st, we're visiting two middle schools in Bowie, Maryland. And then after we visit the schools, we're taking the authors over to Barnes and Noble where we're going to do a Meet the Authors event. So we're going to do a small writers workshop. And then after the workshop, the authors are going to disperse throughout the bookstore and they're going to be signing their books. So this is a great time to purchase a new book, meet the authors, take pictures, and then learn a little bit about writing as well. So I'm excited for that to happen. We actually have not reached capacity with that one, but we have over 100 registrants for that one already. So that's amazing. I took capacity up to 200 for that one because I really want to pack the bookstore out. They've been really supportive of us over the past couple of years. And then
Okay.
on the 22nd, we're having the Ivory and Cream Affair Literary Jazz Brunch. This is going to include a comedian host, comedian Christopher Columbus, who is the founder of the Greek Comedy Tour, which is a comedy tour full of comedians who belong to different fraternities and sororities of the Divine Nine. So we'll have the comedian host. We have a live band, and this is a full 10-piece band with backup singers and a lead singer and a full orchestra. They killed
Oh,
it.
wow.
We actually went to see them during the Christmas holidays perform. I hired them right after that. I was like, okay, let's sign this contract because I need you guys at my event.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that's going to be amazing. Our guest speakers are going to be Nalena Kai, who's going to be on the show tonight,
Okay.
and also Dr. Regina Jennings, who has been on the show before, but she's a member of the Black Panther Party. So we're very excited to have her. And then we have 12 different authors coming from as far as California to as close as Virginia. So they're coming from all over the place. We have folks coming from Chicago, Atlanta. This is going to be an amazing, amazing event. And the biggest part about it, two big things. One, we have the 8th and 9th grade essay contest, where we will be awarding an 8th grader and a 9th grader cash prizes, as well as some physical prizes for writing a 500-word essay on Black History Month. And each grade has its own topic. And then that is the one that is the contest where we're going to be awarding your book as well. So the
Okay.
kids love that book, by the way, especially the parents. I
Yeah,
remember one parent
the
threw up her
parents
hands and said,
understand it.
"Thank you."
Yeah, the
Yes,
parents are really the ones who understand it because the
yes,
kids don't
yes,
understand money
absolutely.
yet. They still think it grows on
But you
trees.
know, the thing is, I mean, even though the book they might be a little bit younger, it's good for them to prepare for college early
Yes,
because that following year they're going into high school. They need to know what to expect, and they
yeah.
can't wait until they get to their senior year to start preparing for college.
And that time
Yeah.
goes by really fast.
Yes.
So we are bringing on our next guest, and her name is Erica Ford. She is an activist in New York, and she's a human rights activist, renowned and anti-violence leader. And in addition to that, she has an amazing natural afro. So
I'm
you
my
rock that
afro,
afro, girl.
yes.
Yeah. So she has a book she wants to tell us about. It came out last week, and it's called The Peace Doctor's Playbook, and she has it behind her. Can you put it like close to the camera so just a copy? Right there. Love it. Okay, and it's you on the top of a mountain because I see that afro even in the silhouette.
Right, that's right, that's right.
So
Peace,
welcome to Black Office Matter TV.
peace, Queens. How are y'all this lovely day?
Doing wonderful. And Erica
Wonderful.
was
Thank you for
referred
joining us
to,
tonight.
yeah,
Thank
she
you
was
for
referred
having
to
me.
us by Doris Allen, who's been on the show a couple of times.
Yeah.
And, Doris is just all about books and supports authors.
She's
And
wonderful. Thank you, Doris.
yeah, she is amazing. So first, tell us a little bit about your background. It sounds like you've done a lot of things and made a lot of impact in your community.
Yes. So the reason why the book was launched on December 12th because that was the 37th anniversary of my engagement in this work. December 12th, 1987 is the day that I became conscious and started doing organizing around social justice, human rights, and bringing peace and justice to our community. The price of the book is $37. It's $1 for every year that I've been dedicated to the work. That's where the price comes from. And so everything about the book has meaning. It's a journal book, and so the different days of the week, the quotes and the tools that are given are tools that I used on young people. I started an organization called Life Camp in 2002, and it is dedicated to eradicating gun violence as well as helping people heal from the trauma of violence. It is something that my entire adult life I've been dedicated to, and um, tomorrow is the last day of Peace Week. We're in Peace Week, and that is something that I helped give birth to. I helped give birth to something called the New York City Crisis Management System, which is a system that New York City uses to reduce gun violence. I am like the mother of the gun violence movement, from the streets of Southeast Queens to the White House. I've helped lift up systems and lift up individuals to help make peace a lifestyle. And so understanding that violence is a disease, helping people look at it just like when you go to the hospital. You go into the emergency room and they put you into the right room for care. They connect you to the right doctor for the care that you need or take further tests, et cetera, et cetera. That is what I've been doing for the last 37 years, across the nation, across the world, actually. But I'm just a humble servant.
Okay, so are you New York, born and bred?
I was born in California.
Oh,
And my mother, after my father died in the Vietnam War, moved here because, she's from Panama. And so a lot of her Panamanian sisters and brothers were here in New York. And so she came here to have support. And so we've
okay.
been here ever since. And I was
Okay.
like 2 when my father died, 2 or 3 years old.
Okay, so basically you're a New Yorker.
Basically in New York.
Yeah, Rhonda and I were there for the Harlem Book Fair in September.
Yes.
Ah, straight ahead.
Yeah, and we
Yeah, we had a good
We
time
all
there until it
back.
rained on us.
yeah,
Oh,
we got
yeah.
rained out, but it was going well until until a big gust of wind. This is how I describe it to people. We had our tents and it was almost like a movie. A big gust of wind just like came through and lifted 6 or 7 tents off of the
Yes.
ground. And
Yeah.
they went like 50 feet over. And
I,
then
I
a
remember.
minute later, it poured, like the rain just poured down.
After they took the tents off of your top, right?
Yeah.
And that is why we look. And so I just opened up to a page, and the page says, adopt the mentality that challenges are happening for you, not to you. See? So
Okay.
the New York wind wanted to bring the rain to wash away some poison that was spreading around you. You know what I'm saying? And they wanted to clean it up so that when you left New York, you was right on, right? So that's what
We were wet, but
Yeah.
but I was prepared. I packed my raincoat, my rain jacket because I had been looking at the weather the whole time, like the week leading up to our trip. And
Right.
it was sunny every day, except that day it showed 50% chance of rain. So I said, let me pack my
Yeah.
rain.
Well, we knew it was going to rain, but we thought it was going to be a little
Right.
sprinkle because
Yes.
it sprinkled for a little while and then it stopped. We just
Yeah.
weren't ready for that hurricane.
Downpour. The downpour with the wind. We weren't ready. But you do what you have to do.
Yep.
yes, yes, yes. That's what Black Queens, that's what we do.
You
That's
have
what
to do.
we do.
And we made it work. And people were very nice.
Yes,
They were
yes.
very nice. And I actually met someone that I grew up with that just happened to be in New York that day, that I
That,
grew up with in Newport News, Virginia. That's how small a world it is. And she
yeah. And
walked by our tent and I recognized her face. You know how some people, if we don't change a lot, our faces, when I
right.
say we, I mean the
Yeah.
melanin. And so our basic face stays the same. So
Yes.
I recognized her even though I hadn't seen her since we were in high school. And it was just funny the way that happened. So tell us a little bit more about your book and what was your goal, your objective when you sat down and said, I wanted to do this playbook?
Last year I almost died. And after almost dying and getting a second chance on life, right, or a new breath of oxygen, literally, I said that I have to be intentional, right? I think that it's important to be intentional, and it's also important to share your wisdom, right? And so I couldn't move around the way that I would want to move around normally, right? I would just go, 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 which is how I got sick in the first place. And I always, wanted to create, but I'm sure, both of you queens know that a lot of times people who want to write books talk about it more than they actually do it.
That's
And
not true. I'm just kidding. That's
and
very true.
And I was challenged by this brother that I know to like you got to have the tool, you got to do it, you got to do it. And so I sat down and I took this is going to be the first of several books. I I put the tools that I used to give to young people through the journey in the book because I wanted to create a way to help people win their own personal championship. Like I'm a sports person. I love sports. And I love sports as a relief, right? I go to football games and basketball games as a place where you can scream and yell and have fun and nobody's looking at you, nobody's judging. You're just, in the wind, right? And sometimes literally. But so I put it together and I just opened up another page and it says, the greatness within you is divinely unshakable. No earthly force can destroy it. Prosperity is knocking. Step aside and let it in. Stay focused, never give up. Always believe in your power to achieve, right? And the intentionality of this is sometimes we get in our own way, right? And so happened, I just finished saying how I kept getting in my own way and not writing the book. And so I wanted to complete. Like my most important thing was to complete it. And so people were like, no, you got to wait 6 months and you got to put it on pre-order so that people could order it. And then you become a bestseller and da 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 da. I'm like, yo, that's not my purpose. My purpose is we're going into a year of uncertainty. We're
Mhm.
going into the people were in a state of fear after the election. They were in a state of hopelessness. And so I'm like, we got to get it out. We got to get it out and we got to get it out right now. Right. And so, we made it happen. And so now I'm a publisher and an author. Right.
Okay.
And never, if, I just love the fact that I'm a publisher and an author. And the fact that I can get this to brothers and sisters incarcerated or residents inside of facilities where they wasn't their home, to people in schools, to mothers in their house, to people who
Mhm.
run organizations, and to people who are part of organizations, because a lot of times, we can't wake up on Monday and think that Monday's just going to be Monday. We have to be intentional about all the 24
Absolutely.
hours in our days and all of the things and people who we bring into our cipher. And so that's the purpose of this. This is why I did this, so that I can begin to share my wisdom that I learned for the last 37 years.
Well, that's wonderful.
So,
And you
would
are
you?
right about being intentional
Mhm.
about what you were going to do. Rhonda and I are both authors, and I had a book that I had been researching and taking notes on, and it's probably been 10 years with me saying I'm going to do this topic. This is the topic I really want to explore. And I kept doing the notes. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm not even sure what happened to make me uh, pull the trigger on it, but it will be out this year.
All right.
And Rhonda's going to be doing my copy editing.
See?
And so I'm not going to do the title yet because I want to get it at least half written before I do that. But it's going to be something that people need to know. Because as you said, we can keep our thoughts and ideas and think, well, we got plenty of time.
Right.
And we don't know. We don't know how
No.
much time.
No.
And our books outlive us.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
Yes.
we
Yeah.
need to get information in people's hands so they can use it going forward for generations.
That's right. That's
Absolutely.
right. That's right.
Would you consider your book, because as I'm listening to the pieces that you are reading to us, it almost sounds like a devotional, but not exactly. More like, is it, do you have like inspirational phrases for each day of the year
Each week.
or or each week of the year?
So it's each week, right? So it starts
Okay.
off, right, with that, and then it goes into setting your goals for the week that align with
Okay, love that. So it's like a workbook as well.
correct, correct. And then so it has professional goals for the week, health goals for the week, personal goals for the week, love goals for the week,
I might need that
financial
book.
goals for the week, family goals for the week. And then on the bottom, right? Because a lot of times, once again, we write the goals down, but did we start to deal with the goal? Did we complete to deal with the goal? Are we continuing to deal with the goal? Are we stuck with the goal? Did we cancel that goal, right? Because this way,
Yes.
every week, you're going to see where you are. And if you stuck for like 12 weeks, then we need to evaluate, right? And
I
so
love that.
it
So
also
this book helps also helps you with accountability and help
correct.
if you start to procrastinate, it sounds like it's giving you the tools to overcome that procrastination.
Correct. And you have a QR code that you scan so you become part of a community, right? And so we're doing it together. So every Sunday I'm on IG or Facebook Live and I'm walking through the week and I'm talking to
Yes.
folks and having it. And then in the community, we're setting up where people can work together, where, you can ask me questions. I can help you, or I can connect you to somebody with that particular resource, goal to help you achieve that goal at a higher rate, right? Just because I've been in the field for so long, I'm connected to a lot of different people. And so different people have agreed to help people, whether it's doing financial education classes, right? Or helping somebody might be losing their house, right? And we might know lawyers in different places, or they're stuck on how to deal with their son in school. They keep, failing a test or having bullying problem, or, they're different things, right? That in this thing called life, right? And so
Right.
how do we walk through this journey together? Because you need an accountability partner, right? And so the book is and the team is one accountability partner, but we each week are asking you who's your accountability partner, because we want you to connect to someone intentionally that's walking through the year with you, right? And so everybody in your cipher should be adding value, right? An asset to your life, not a liability. And you're looking at
Yes.
add into their life and how. And so yes.
Yeah. I've got to tell you the great things that the social book club is saying about you. So um, right here it says Rhonda Lawson, she's for me local in Queens, New York. The social book club is in New York as well. Said her aura from this live is the same energy she had when she met you at an event, which I'm gonna tell you about in a second. She said, I met her once and she's very positive from what I saw and heard. So it sounds like you walk the walk and you talk the talk.
Yes. Well, you know, I am a very honest person. I speak my what and so politicians and police might have a different opinion, right? An individual that is not of righteousness might have a different opinion, but even that, like Deepak Chopra coined me the angry peacemaker, right? And the reason why is because, which is like, you see my hands out. When I was in elementary school, I used to get in trouble in class for talking too much in the third grade, all up, right?
Well, yeah, so did I.
And you and we talk for a living now, right? So they didn't
Yeah,
know
that's what
they,
it was helpful. We just
they,
didn't have to channel it somewhere.
Yes.
they didn't know how to cultivate our greatness. But what they used to do was have me stand with my arms out like this, right? Which is one of the reasons why the book cover. And if I dropped it, they would hit me with a ruler, right? And so I was getting corporal punishment for what I thought was expressing myself, right? And so and I was already angry, my father died in a war that we didn't have to have. And just all of it. And then I had to fight. Why am I fighting to get young people access to quality education, quality health, not get beat up by the police? Why do I have to fight? Like everything was a fight, fight, fight.
Right.
And so it brings on a certain, when you're fighting all the time, one, your body doesn't know whether you're really fighting or not. And that's what happened in terms of illness for me. My eosinophils started to come at a large number, right? Which is your white blood cells. And it took over my body. And it started to fight me, which, then depleted my whole nervous system. And I say that to say is that I had to look at how I showed up in the world, right? I can't be angry. I can't fight for things that I can't control because I can't die to quote save and help or do something for some, like that's not the objective. And so the book is also my own playbook, right? To go back to what I was teaching the young people, because all of these are texts that I used to send to young people every day and help apply it intentionally in 2025 so that I know I'm not going back to a lifestyle that I used to live. But I am who I am. I'm never three different people, right? When you see me, it's me. Home,
Yes.
in the club, at the football game, wherever you see me, with the politicians, with the police, I am who I am. And that's one of the things in here. I think that's the word. That's this week. Number 3 is your word is your bond, right? Be true to
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, I agree with you. And integrity is really everything.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm sorry that the response for you talking was punishment, because although my homeroom teacher did give me, I think she gave me a F, or it wasn't like a academic F. It was in conduct. But what she did was she would always put me in a position where I could use my talking.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she would have me doing plays, or she would have me.
Right.
I did a lot of writing, and I did essays where I recited them to the class. She
Right.
had me channel my talking into
Oh, she was
something.
good.
She was
Yeah. And
excellent. She
I
was
like that
excellent.
when you find when you
Mhm.
find what some people might see as a weakness and you refocus that and
Yeah,
make it a strength, you never know what you can do for that child.
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah, she did put a note in my report card though to my parents.
Yeah, but they used to make us write the Bible, which is one of the reasons that turns me off of the Bible because it was a punishment. And so,
Mm.
we used to have to write the Bible all the time.
Did you
And
go to Catholic school?
of course,
Okay, because I know they didn't do that in the
no,
well, not where I was in the public
no,
schools.
they didn't.
Uh,
They didn't do
mm.
it anywhere where we were. And
Yeah,
my mother,
we
my
did
mother
recite
thought,
the Lord's Prayer, but we didn't study the Bible in school.
right,
Mhm.
right, yeah, they
Oh,
did.
my daughter went to a Catholic school, so they had to go to mass. That was like part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my daughter, she didn't go to Catholic. She went to private Christian. So it was part of their curriculum too. But I was in public
Mm.
school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I used to get tortured. Now,
Oh.
as an adult, I know that it was corporal punishment.
Well, there's a lot of people in the chat who seem to be in that same club of talking too much when they were in the 3rd and 4th grade.
No, I will not
Having to
talk in
write, I
class.
will be quiet 100 times, or I will
Yeah.
not talk in class 500 times.
Yes, yes. You have to write all of that. Yes, yes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Well, a lot of us had that experience. That's better than having to hold your arms out and being hit with the
Yes. A ruler.
ruler. That's
Right.
writing is better. But yeah, it's all kinds of ways teachers. I don't know what they do now. Because it seems like, well, anyway, I don't want to open that can of worms. So let me
You know,
uh,
but
what have you been doing with your book? And in terms of like getting it out there, have you been doing book signings or book events, or what have you been doing with your book?
yes, yes. We have a book signing tomorrow at York College, which I'm an alumni
Nice.
of in Queens,
Okay.
with Queen Afua, who is a wellness warrior. She will
Mhm.
be at the book signing. We're doing a fireside conversation. Um, I have locked in Barnes and Nobles to do a book signing on Fifth Avenue here in New York in March for Women's History Month.
Okay.
And I look to do, because of my work, I'm going to be doing book signings with some of the different violence intervention folks from around the nation and some of the churches that I've been working in. We did New Birth, Pastor Jamal Bryant's church in Atlanta,
Okay.
Georgia. And then one of my young people and I'm doing that intentionally. One of my young people, because that's what I went to Atlanta for. One of my young people who is the reason why a lot of the quotes took place, right? And a lot of the gray hairs take place. He's now a business owner. And so I went to do a book signing at his store to show the transition, to show that the stuff works, and what we pour in, and to pour back into him and continue to work with those who are the success stories in the work that I've been doing for the last 37 years.
Okay. What was the bookstore in Atlanta?
It was a church bookstore.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It
Because
was
we've
at,
had some of the bookstore owners on the show that were in
I'm
Atlanta.
coming back to do the actual bookstore in Atlanta. And they're my team is coordinating. So if we can partner with folks on your the live, they can go to ericaford.org, and I would love to come to the bookstores in the different cities, especially where the community violence intervention groups are on the ground, and help connect folks and build that continue to build the ecosystem, because we all work with young people. They all need to expand their horizon, expand their worldview, go
Mhm.
into those bookstores, read books, meet new authors, and the authors also need to connect with the folks on the ground doing the work, right? So that we can stay in the cycle of building our community up, building our economic wealth up, and just educating our community, our children, so that we could get free from this beautiful I won't say anything else.
You didn't
Okay.
have to. You didn't have to.
Okay. Well, we
It's
want
just
people.
a day away.
We want people to support your book, and congratulations on the Peace Doctors Playbook, Erica. And thank you for all of the work that you're doing and your commitment, your passion, and your tireless efforts. But be sure to take care of yourself, because guess what? If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others.
Fact. That you're a
So
thousand percent,
very
thousand.
important.
I definitely am. I definitely am.
Yeah.
Intentionally, right? Intentionally, I am.
Yeah.
So, ericaford.org, folks
Okay.
can get the book, folks can sign up to bring us out and do a book signing in your community. If you're in New York tomorrow, we're at York College in Queens, 94-20 Guy Arburo Boulevard. And come out, show love, and let's continue growing. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being a guest on Black Authors Matter TV. And if you see Doris before I do, tell her I said hello.
I will. I will.
She's
I'll
my
get.
girl. So, all right. Take care and have a great evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
God bless.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so we are going to be giving away after this next interview a copy, and we had planned to do this last week, but we didn't. I'm not going to do the trivia question right now. I'm going to just tell the book. And this is by Earl Sewell. He was on the show maybe 6 weeks or so or something like that. And this book is called Lenny Gray. And it's a thick book. However, there's a lot of space. So it's not as I don't know if you all can see the page, the way the page is set up. So it's not as it's not going to take you as long to read it as it may look by the page count. So anyway, we're going to do the trivia question after this next interview. But I want to let you all know. So you all the ones who try to win the book, so y'all can be ready. So when the trivia question is stated. And then Rhonda will post it in the chat when we do it. So our next guest is Chris Morehouse. He has a book called Legacy. It's the wisdom of African tradition and the Bible. And he connects the two together in his book. And he also was at the National Black Book Festival. I think it was in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted and honored to participate this year. And yes, it was 2023. Obviously, I might be a surprising candidate. I can't claim to be a Black author, but I can't wait to talk about the book. And I want to honor and recognize my 30 African collaborators who helped guide me through the process. And not from every culture represented in the book, but from significant ones: the Yoruba, Zulu, Bakongo, Swahili, Wolof, Bambara. It was a blessing every step of the way.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So did you travel to Africa and meet your collaborators?
I did not. The bucket list is Addis Ababa and Aksum. But I trained in grad school to be a Peace Corps type or USAID type person, right?
Okay.
And I met people from Tanzania, Nigeria, other countries, Mali, who were sent there by the governments to learn development studies and to manage projects in their countries. And it opened up a whole new world for me. And I began collecting compilations of African proverbs at that time. Some of these proverbs have stayed with me for 30 years. I mean, I'll go back to.
Show your book cover.
Yeah.
Show us some
Thank
book
you.
covers.
Legacy, Wisdom of
Legacy.
African Traditions and the Bible. And I would sit with these books and go back, and through every move, after several moves, we kept these books. We threw out dozens of other things, but they stayed with me. Turns out for a purpose, I believe. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, I got the idea to put the book together. And I'd like to talk a little bit about that process. And I was reading books about comparing the great religious traditions, the parallel sayings of Jesus and Muhammad, Jesus and Moses. It's a braided tradition, but and they compare verses from the scriptures of each faith tradition on topics like compassion and forgiveness. And it's very enlightening. But I thought, y'all need an African volume in this series. Why hadn't anybody done that? And I sent a proposal off, didn't hear back, and I with holy boldness or just regular old foolish boldness, maybe, I thought, well,
You didn't have anything to lose
right
at that point.
I thought I'll do it. I'll do it because this is so compelling. This is so exciting. And it's honestly, it's been a blessing every step of the way. So, I'll give you an example. The Ovambo, they're a people of Namibia, just northwest of South Africa. They have a proverb, eyes see me too, which strikes me as the very essence of seeing the beam in your own eye and not worrying about the mote or the speck in somebody else's, right? That
Right.
is, see me too. That reflects the humility that is needed to for any kind of spiritual growth, focusing on yourself. And so these are the kinds of things that inspired me. And that particular proverb is one that has stayed with me for 30 years. Eyes see me too. It's stunning and beautiful. And there's something magical happens when you put the traditions in dialogue. I don't know if you've ever been to a church or other house of worship with that poster showing the golden rule from different
Oh,
faith
yes,
traditions
yes.
around the world, right? Look for the African version of the golden rule.
Okay.
Chances are you won't find it. I don't know why. I don't know why, but they almost never. I mean, I've seen one version of that poster but I'm sure I missed a few. But there's a beautiful. I found at least 7 versions of the golden rule of do unto others.
Mhm.
And there's a beautiful version of the golden rule from Madagascar in the Malagasy language, which is if you know what hurts yourself, you know what hurts others.
Hmm.
Okay, yes. And so that's
That right. That is the
similar.
whole idea of do unto others. It's a different idiom, right?
Mhm.
It's in a negative kind of context. So the 30 African collaborators I worked with helped guide me in several ways. I asked them to corroborate: is this really a proverb in your culture? I submitted to them the proverbs I intended to use from all the compilations and the books and websites I'd consulted. Is this really a proverb? In some cases, no. So I disregarded them. What's the context? Is it used with children, for example? And are there translation issues that would enrich our understanding in English? And I had 2 lovely, wonderful collaborators from Madagascar, and one of them, Melody Ramanandra. I love their names. She said, "Yeah, that one is used with children. That one is used with children." And the word that you found in the English language version in the proverb compilation that you found, hurt. In my language, Malagasy, it means pinch. So putting those 2 together, I don't know about you, but I hear a mother's voice. Don't pinch somebody. You know what a pinch feels like,
Yeah.
right? It's the tenderness of a mother's voice. It's the warmth of a mother's voice. It is the golden rule from a different perspective, a different angle, and it is time that this treasury of wisdom is acknowledged. And
It strikes me that, we call Africa the motherland. So why would we be surprised that there are mother-isms, so to speak?
right, right.
And so I'm glad that you're bringing those to light, because we don't always hear. We always hear, if you want to go fast, go alone, or if you want to go far, go, or no, if you want to go far, what is it? If you
If
want
you
to
want
go
to go far,
fast,
go
go
alone.
alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
That was in the most recent Lion King movie. Yeah.
Yes. But I actually heard it before the Lion King movie.
Yes,
Way
right,
before the
right.
Lion King movie.
So it shows
Yeah.
they used, yeah, they consulted. There was another one. There were a couple of I'm gonna forget now, but losing the way is one way of finding the way.
Mm,
Losing the way is one way of finding it, which is a
I
beautiful
can
paradox.
I can relate to that.
yeah.
Amen. Right? Right?
Mhm. It's sort of
Um,
like making a mistake is how you learn what
exactly.
you shouldn't do.
Exactly. Right.
So,
Right. Right. And I paired that with all things work to the good for those who love the Lord. Right? If you are trusting God, if you're trusting God, that God is with you on the journey, you know, you can learn from getting lost,
That's
right?
true.
Now, with your
It-
collaborators, I have a question.
yes,
Were
ma'am.
you working with them on written? Because I know the oral tradition is very prominent in African cultures, tribal cultures, and in African American culture, because a lot of our traditions and our stories were told orally before we started having the ability to write them here. But were you getting a combination of the two, oral and written, in terms of what you were hearing from these different collaborators in the cultures and the
What
proverbs and what you were.
obviously they're it's tricky. They're all oral, but we're all working in written media. I went to a gig work platform and posted, you know, looking for Yoruba writers to, you know, to give me background on Yoruba proverbs. But the outpouring, the graciousness of, here's another proverb for you. Here's another verse for you. And my publisher had original content restrictions, like which limited like the quoted material, but which included both proverbs and verses. So, you know, but I was really touched by how moved they were and how excited they were by this project, because they also, there's nothing like this in our country. Right, because the legacy of colonialism was, you know, nothing important happened before we came, right? And so these proverbs persist in their cultures, but the traditions are being eroded a little bit by modern life. But it was just, and sometimes you find versions of the same or similar proverb from different cultures, maybe neighboring, but maybe, or sometimes distant cultures, which, you know, I infer they travel, right? They resonate with another people who pick it up and say, this is meaningful for us too. So it gives you, there's a wealth there to ponder and contemplate and inspire. One thing about some of the collaborators had special resources. A couple said, "Oh, I have access to the National Library." Great, you're in. Another said, another said, I mean, they brought with them not just the enthusiasm and support, but like, you know, some of these special access. And one said, "I have access to a royal family." Okay, thank you. Yes, please. And one said, "I have access to rural women." And these are all keepers of the knowledge, right?
Mhm.
And so, you know, it was a blessing every step of the way.
Hmm. Now, what is your background and what led you on this path? I know you said you had started with the Peace Corps, or you did some Peace Corps travel work or something. I don't want to misquote what you said.
Yeah, in graduate school, I pursued development studies with a focus on Africa. My undergraduate major was French, so I thought I could do Francophone or Anglophone Africa or both.
Mhm.
But even before then, I mean, when I may have been 11 or 13 when I sent away for records. Do you remember those? LPs, teach yourself Swahili. And
Oh,
right, I was just fascinated by these cultures, and I wanted to learn everything I could.
so this was before YouTube for
Yeah,
those who were
this
Gen,
is
was it
ancient
Gen X?
history. Yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah,
yeah, this is for YouTube back in the ancient times, like my daughter says.
Not ancient times.
right,
That's what she'll
right,
say. That's before the
but
internet. That's ancient
right.
times to her. But anyway, but so yeah, they did used to have those. I remember seeing ads for those, like in Ebony or
Right,
Jet or one
right,
of the black magazines back in the day.
right,
You could
right,
teach yourself
right,
languages with vinyl.
right, right. So I don't know what inspired me, but I wanted to learn as much as I could about
So did
these
you
different
learn?
cultures.
Were you able to learn? Were you able to use it?
I just joined Swahili language uh, a discussion group at my workplace,
Wow.
which includes some native speakers. So I'm learning. It's got 7 noun classes. I don't know if you know anything about it. And the subject, verb, adverb, adjective agreement is kind of burdensome, but you kind of get used to it a little bit. The sounds, there's no clicks, there's no nasals, you know, the sounds are really easy for an English speaker, but it's the 7 noun classes. So,
Yeah,
but
a lot of that
so
happens. Well, for when you are learning other languages, just the verb, the tenses, and all of that. That is,
right.
I took French, but I didn't. I only took it. I was good at it too, but it was just an elective. I was never planning to go to France or anything like that. Or well,
I
at
plan
the
to.
time, I would love to go. I haven't been, but at the time, that was not my plan. It was just an elective, and I think we had to take some French, and then I took it as a course, as an elective, and I was good at it. I was good at the subject verb part, the tenses, and all of that. So, but I couldn't. I only know a little bit of French, so only a
Well,
tiny bit. But Rhonda lived in Belgium. Do they speak French in Belgium? Rhonda just went
yes,
off. She just clicked off. I don't know what happened.
in the southern
Happened in
part.
her collection. In the southern part of Belgium, because she spent, I
Yes.
think, 5 years in Belgium. She said
Wow.
she was in the military.
Oh,
She's retired military, so she'll probably pop back on. I think she
okay.
might have lost her connection because she froze up for a minute. Her and that's sometimes when your internet,
Sure.
sometimes your
That's
modem,
that's fine.
the Wi-Fi doesn't cooperate, and so um, now when did your book came out in 2023, the year that you came to the festival,
That's right. Yeah.
and so what have you been like? What have been the venues and the events and the places that you've gone to talk about your book?
Uh, in it, in addition to the National Black Book Festival, where it was lovely to attend, but the books didn't get there. Even in spite of that, I was invited to a Black History Month celebration in Philadelphia last year.
Okay.
I participated in the Printers Row Lit Fest in Chicago this
I've
fall.
heard of that.
It, oh, it's huge. It is huge, but so many interesting people, theology students, and I mean, many African Americans, and a Jewish woman who translated, worked on a book of Assyrian proverbs, and just a really diverse, large group of people. I talked nonstop for 2 days. I was so happy. I've done some podcasts. There's been a couple other book festivals. I'm planning to apply to a couple more this spring. Geez, I could talk about the book all day long, and I'm open to, speaking to churches and other houses of worship and book clubs as well. So please convey that. I would love to. This is wonderful, wonderful stuff. I'd like to share another proverb. The Wolof in Senegal in West Africa have a proverb: if there is cause to hate someone, the cause to love has just begun. I mean,
Wow.
right, that is the whole idea of loving one's enemy, right? That
Yes.
is what Jesus taught. That is to see everyone as a potential friend,
Yes.
right? I've never heard a more beautiful expression of that idea than from the Wolof. So you know, it's wonderful to sort of contemplate these ideas again in a different idiom. And it gave me, you know, having studied a little French, it gave me a sensitivity for language and what um what added dimensions that might add. The Swahili of East Africa have a proverb: anger, loss. The shortest proverb in the book, 2 words: anger, loss. And that, that I pair that with, Paul's "in your anger, do not sin." You know, own your anger, experience your anger, but do not
But sin
cause
not.
loss,
Mhm.
right? Cause loss for yourself or for other people. And in Swahili, the word for loss, it's hasira hasara. So in Swahili, translating to English, you lose some rhythm, you lose some alliteration, but it's still a really compelling idea in just two words. And the Swahili proverb hasira hasara, the second word hasara means, in addition to loss, can also mean damage. And both are true. In your
Now,
anger,
it seems like you have spent a lot of time studying these proverbs because you're able to rattle them off
I sit
from
with them.
memory, and you're not reading them, you're reciting them. And so it sounds like you spent a lot of time on studying these.
I did. It was very enriching, and they have a way of like sinking into your soul.
Hmm. Now, when you said you work with the collaborators, were you meeting them online? Is that how did you meet them? Like, how did
I
you
met
connect with
some of
them?
them online. Yes,
Okay.
yes, and just submitted. Here are 4 proverbs for the book. Can you corroborate them for me? And tell me the context, and tell me, are there any translation issues that we should be aware of?
Okay.
So, could not have done it without them.
Because some things do get lost in translation, or the
Yes,
translation is not precise. It's not
right.
exactly, and that happens in all languages. Now, did you study? Did you said you studied French? Did you
Yes.
did you study any other languages?
I can get by in some Romance languages. I attempt a little bit of Russian, a little bit of Japanese, and and my goal is to learn how to say thank you in as many languages as possible.
Okay.
Asante, of course, is Swahili. Amaseganalo is Amharic from Ethiopia. Ngiyabong is Zulu. So
Okay.
thank you gets you
Well,
a
you
long
know
way.
French, merci. I know that. And let me see. What's thank you in Spanish? I know please is por favor. Gracias.
Gracias. Yeah,
How could I
right.
forget? 'Cause, I'm surrounded by Spanish speakers in Houston,
Sure, sure.
So this, in fact, my neighbors are Spanish. One's from El Salvador, though, not, because not Span Spanish speakers are in a lot of different countries, not just Mexico.
Completely,
So
completely.
yeah, so
My goal would be I really would love to get the book translated into French, Spanish, Portuguese, because with English, those are all the official European languages of Africa. And for a while, I was working with a lovely Afro-Mexican lady who was willing to take that on, but she said, "There's nothing like this in my country," which I heard from other collaborators too. There's nothing. This doesn't really exist. I mean, the closest that comes to is in the early '90s. Archbishop Desmond Tutu uh, wrote the African Prayer Book with parables and liturgies and poems and some proverbs, but not paired with Bible verses. This is the missing volume in that series, or at least I hope it is. I'm sure others could build upon it, and I hope they do.
now rather than talk about countries, African countries, you talk more about African tribes or people because they're not all necessarily concentrated in one of the African countries.
The legacy of colonialism was these artificial borders split,
Yes.
related peoples,
right, right. So, but except for Madagascar, you did talk about that connection.
Yeah, that is such a wonderful place. That is also a bucket list place for me.
It is me too. It's on my list too. I haven't made a trip to Africa yet. I haven't gone out I've only been in North and South America. So I haven't been, well, the Caribbean. So I haven't been to Europe yet. I haven't been to Africa yet, and I haven't been to Asia. But those are my bucket list trips. Um, I thought I was going to be going to Europe this year, but it would be next year instead, to the Mediterranean. And I haven't decided which African country I want to visit because I would have to pick one or maybe two. Um, so I don't know, but I've heard there's some, and I love cruising, and I've heard that there's some amazing river cruises in Africa.
There are.
So that I know people who have gone. So I'm gonna perhaps look into that because cruising I really love. I can't swim, but I love being on the water in a ship.
Right.
So,
We can chat offline. There are travel agencies that specialize in Africa that will like give you a package of Senegal and South Africa. So
okay, okay.
right.
Well, show us your book again, your book cover, and it's called Legacy:
Right.
Wisdom of African Traditions and the Bible. And just congratulations to you on um, taking on this project and sticking to it. Because it sounds, how many years did it take you to?
It was like 5-6 years. It was
Yeah, I
five,
could
six
tell.
years.
Yeah, I could tell it was
So
one of those kind of
do the
projects.
research, line up the art, get the collaborators, yeah. And then working with my publisher, it was just, yeah.
Now,
But it was a
is
blessing
this your
every step of the
first
way.
book? Is this your first
It's my
book?
first book. Yes.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, congratulations on putting the
Thank
information
you.
out there. It's an amazing comparison. You know, a lot of times when you're a writer, you have a vision or a premise or an idea that you don't see written somewhere else in another book or the way that you would present it. And so that gives you an idea for something that you can do, especially if you're
All
dealing with nonfiction. Because fiction can be, you can make up 1,000 stories for fiction. For nonfiction, you
right,
have to kind of look at an angle that hasn't really been covered or that hasn't been covered the way you would cover it.
right. Well, all the eloquence is borrowed from these proverbs. Not for me. I have little essays about what I think, and then I quote my collaborators to cite what they said, what they told me about the proverbs and the context. But it's all it's the and I tried to get out of their way. Do you know what I mean? In writing
Yeah.
it,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
but it's all due to them. In Africa, proverbs have evolved to a high art. They are meant to be memorable, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, they're
right,
all, it's really poetic.
it's
Um,
exactly,
the way that
exactly.
you recite them is really poetry.
Yes, I could not agree more. Could not agree more.
Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity, and thanks again for the warm welcome in 2023 in Houston.
Oh,
I had the best time.
you're so welcome. And we hope to see you again soon and hope to hear continued success with your book, with your work.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, have a great
Appreciate it.
evening.
Thanks, you too. Take
Okay,
care.
you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, Rhonda's been trying to log on. She must be having Wi-Fi problems because she tried to log on and it didn't. Hopefully she'll come back. So we have our final guest, and it's Lissa Woodson, and she writes under the name Nelena Kai, but she does other things under her given name. I believe it's her given name of Lissa Woodson. And I wanted to have her back because I kept seeing these announcements popping up about uh book deals that were being announced, and Lissa was listed as the agent. And I said, okay, we haven't had an agent on the show in a while. And agency work is one of the questions a lot of aspiring authors and existing authors ask about. So we wanted to get her back to talk about her work as a literary agent, because when she was on before, she talked more about writing and publishing. Enough for me talking. Welcome back to the show, Lissa. And I hope you are having a great year so far.
It's been an amazing year. It's been a restful year. We're just trying to balance things out with everything that's going on and just remembering whose we are and who has us in the palm of his or her hand, depending on your belief system. So my thing is everything's out, all is well.
Okay. Now the books behind you, are all of those your books? I think I see your name on each
Yes,
one of them.
that's my pen name. Yes, and you're right. Lissa Woodson is my government name.
Right. Okay. Okay. And but the agency work that you do for the Seymour Agency, I believe.
Yes, the Seymour Agency.
That's your literary agency work. And I don't know if I even knew that you were a literary agent. I knew you were a publisher, you had a tribe, you're an author, but I didn't know you were a literary agent too. Or maybe I did and I just forgot.
Well, I didn't lean into the literary agent side of my life until like the pandemic hit. I've been an agent for 20 years. I landed my first deal, and the deal for my son, J.L. Woodson, who I think you met when we came to the event in October.
Yes.
A year ago. And yeah, I got our deals with Simon and Schuster, and then I landed some deals for people with Harlequin. Because of my event, the Cavalcade of Authors, I had a connection with several acquisitions editors at publishing houses. So I was able to do deals that way. There's some deals that I've made that I'm not even on as agent. I'm like consultant and just kind of walk people in because that's not where my head was at that time. I was in the author space. I was in the event space, but I've been leaning in on the last 2 to 3 years, been leaning steadily into the agent space. And it's a whole new ballgame, with everything that's happening. So yeah.
Okay. Well, what types of authors, is there a particular genre that you lean into, or I know it's probably all fiction, but it may not be. So I don't want to speak for you. What types of authors do you generally represent?
The genre that I'm looking for from outside of the tribe would be romantic suspense. It would be romantic comedy, cozy mysteries, and domestic thrillers. I hang my hat on those 4. When I first started, I was doing romantasy, I was doing self-help, I was doing a lot of other things. And at the beginning of my career, I wanted to be one of those agents that told people why they did not get the okay or the approval. And some of it had to do with platform. When you're doing self-help, they need to have a platform starting out because their publishers kind of expect for your first sales to come from your home base. And they're looking at self-help, nonfiction, anywhere from 20,000 to 50,000 flat on IG. And a lot of people who were applying some of them didn't have a platform at all. They were so busy focused on the writing side that they didn't focus on building their social media platforms as well. And that is something that the publishers look at. They don't hire ghosts. They don't acquire ghosts or people that don't have a nice size digital footprint in that genre. Now, some of the other ones, if you're a debut author, of course, you're not going to have an extensive platform, but then you better have a damn good book coming through the door. So there was a lot of things that I had discussions with people who would turn in things that have not been developmentally edited. And it was just an amazing experience starting out the gate. So I closed down to really focus on the people that I already acquired. I acquired about 4 people from Query Tracker. The rest of the people are referrals from other authors I represent, or they're from Tribe. Tribe is my main bulk of my clients, and they can write anything for me and I will sell it because they understand the process. They understand the developmental edit, the content edit, line edit, beta read. They understand branding. I don't have to preach to the choir with them. They're already poised for success. And I don't have to groom, or I just don't have that bandwidth like I once did. I work a 9 to 5 at a law firm, and I need people who are ready to go out the gate. So I did take the time to give my rejection letters by phone in the beginning. And it was an exhilarating experience because some people have been pitching a book for 3 years, not realizing they could have a good book. But the reason why they were getting the rejections were because they didn't have a platform, or it was one person, damn good book, but they needed some editing. And sometimes people just needed to take the time to do that. And I did do that in the beginning.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people think they can just have a raw book. I call it a raw book they've
Draft.
written.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that's what it is, a draft.
Mm-hmm.
And just somebody will get an agent, and then it'll get published. And people will ask me about agents, and I tell them I don't refer agents. I don't refer people to agents, because if I refer them, that's like I give them my stamp of approval, and I can't do that on something I haven't read.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to read it because I have my own work I do. I have my own books I'm writing, and I just don't have time to do that. So I'm not going to you can't just DM me and say, do you have an agent phone number that you can give me? No.
They definitely will use your name. And I've called
they will.
Done that and said, oh, well, such and such said I should.
Right. Told me.
That doesn't always work, because I will go back and ask. And there was a guy that did that. And when I asked, why did you tell him to use my name? And he says, well, I don't really know the guy. I said, well, then don't tell him to use your name in order to get through the door, because, I think you're vetting this person, and this person is just
exactly
name dropping.
They assume that you've been vetted. I did it with one person. I did one referral since I've been in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a book deal, but I did it because it was somebody I knew I could vouch for in terms of hustle. Yeah. Because a lot of people just think they can sit back, just hand the stuff to somebody, and they can just sit back and rake in royalties. And this is not the way it works. You have to hustle, or in this, what you're saying, you have to already have a platform. You have to have followers, and followers just means the social media platforms have it set up to where a certain number of people will see what you post on a regular, if you're posting, and you need to be posting something interesting on a regular basis. That's what that means. Mm-hmm. That's what that means. And you need to have some numbers. You need to be able to show, look, I can promote my work to 100,000 people, or whatever the number is, but it needs to be in the tens of thousands. It needs to, like you said, minimum 10, and you were saying 20 to 50. And that's
for self-help.
Okay.
It's a higher threshold for them. And the thing about it is, I realize, people, we have a life. Yeah. I'm an author as well. Yeah. I have a virtual personal assistant, and she keeps my social media up, because I cannot do it all. I had to toe the line. Mm-hmm. We just cannot do it all. Right. It's okay to delegate. Even if
you have a full-time job. So you have a 9 to 5. See, I've been self-employed for a long time, decades.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So I wouldn't even know how to work for somebody else. Now I have clients. That's what I have, people I do work for. So I have clients. Welcome back, Rhonda. I was wondering what happened. Something happened to your Wi-Fi.
My computer crashed or something. I had to just totally restart. But I'm back now.
You froze up. I said, well, maybe she'll come back.
Hey, Elena.
Yeah, so she's telling us about her work, agency work. Yes. And so people can know what they need to do before when they want to pitch to an agent that they find or referred. We were just talking about referring people. What are the things that you specifically need in someone who's looking to have you represent them before you even say, okay, we're going to pitch to the publisher? What do you need as an agent? What do you need to see as an agent?
Clean up your social media. I had to do that when I was accepted into the mentorship program at the Seymour agency. I'm an erotic author. I'm an author, and I would sometimes have some kind of raunchy stuff on my page. So I had to go through all 1,000 plus of my posts to see, because I'm not just representing myself, I'm also representing the agency, and I'm also representing the authors. I didn't need anything on my page, even if it was ambiguous or whatever. I could be me. But the difference is, in a professional setting, I had to make sure that my pages, all of my pages, represented me in a light that I could represent other people. So there's a thing that also watch yourself in these Facebook groups. One person, I was really interested in the book, and I called her and she didn't answer, and it was okay. I left a voicemail. But that next morning, I saw her blast an agent in a Facebook group, because I was like, whoa, she didn't blast the name, but she blasted their process. And it wasn't the blast that got me. It was the other authors who were trying to explain to her, look, just because she was a Black agent doesn't mean she, is going to connect with your story just because your characters are Black. They were trying to explain that. And her defensiveness in the answers. And I said, oh no, if she can be that way with just getting good, and they were giving good information. It wasn't that they were just talking. They were saying stuff that I would have said. And her defensiveness was like, that way she would also be that way with an acquisitions editor at a major publishing house. And here's the thing. You could destroy my ability to bring other people in. If you leave a sour taste on an acquisitions editor's lips and in their mouth, that impacts me bringing other people in-house. I'm not going to let you mess up that part of my process. So I look at how you represent yourself as well. I had to clean up my act, not that I was, hitting stripper poles and stuff like that. But you understand what I'm saying. But watching that, but also to making sure your story is unique. There's nothing new under the sun, nothing at all. But what makes your story stand out in that genre? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to tell me and show me with a good hook. There are people who send me like pages and pages of synopses. All I need is a good, tight paragraph or two, a little bit about you. What you send me should make me run to those sample chapters to read what you have, and make sure it has a hook, the opening line, the opening paragraph, the opening page, the opening chapter. It needs to be something like, oh yeah, I gotta have the rest of this. You understand? And we get hundreds. I had about 80 submissions. Out of those 80 submissions, only 4 people made the cut.
Okay, so it's a very competitive process.
It is. It is. And it's not because we want to be. We want to be able to pick up everything. But we also have to know that when I'm throwing something at an acquisitions editor, I got to throw my best, because I want them to pick that up. I want them to pick up the next thing and the next thing. I want, anytime they see my name, they click open, because they know I'm bringing some good stuff.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize the agent doesn't get paid unless they sign somebody. And so they can't waste time on stuff that's not gonna make the cut at all, stuff that has no chance of making the cut.
Well, it's not a matter of every agent is different.
But all the ones I've talked to have something similar to say, though.
Yeah. And that's when you go to manuscript wish list or query tracker, and it will help to pair you up with somebody who is looking for what you're pinning. But the thing about it is, if I get 20 of the same genre, I'm looking for the one that's going to stand out, that has the best chance for me being a yes from an acquisitions editor, because this is different. This is unique. I have one right now that the acquisitions editor has emailed me for. The author is now with an editor, another editor, and getting it all tightened up and everything, because my agency has kind of, how can I say, resources of things. They wanted one last look at it, but the acquisitions editor has emailed me several times that we want this, it's unique, it's different. And I have never had it where an acquisitions editor has been tracking me down, trying to get a particular project. And it was a smaller project at first. It was supposed to be YA. It was 25,000 words. They wanted the author to expand it to 65,000 words. And that author did it within a 1-month period. And I was like, wow. And it's a debut author. Amazing. He is amazing.
Nice.
But now we're tightening it up, getting ready to go in, and they're being patient. That's how you know they want it, and I know they're going to do well by him and do right by him.
Well, so what I'm hearing you say is that the author has a responsibility as well. You can't just throw your manuscript at the agent, expect the agent to do all the work and the publishing company to pick that author's book up and promote it to the world, and you're not doing your part by either doing what the publishing company is suggesting to you, to at least reading your manuscript yourself to catch any misspelled words or anything.
Professionally edited. A lot
Yeah.
of my rejections came because people didn't have their work professionally edited. And the thing about it is, yes, you want your book to be a success. And that means, how are you going to be more successful than somebody else is in the same house? Do you have your marketing plan for yourself? Don't expect the publishing house to do everything. You need to be working in tandem with them for your success, because when your sales kick in, that means, what is that? She who makes the goal makes the rules. That means you're making them money. That means you get some perks for some other things with your next book and the book after that. There's a lot going into it. Don't just rest on your laurels when it comes to that.
Yes.
Get yourself a publicist if you have, or PR. There's places that you can market and promote your book for little of nothing. Do some Facebook ads, do some Amazon ads, do whatever it else can give yourself an edge. Make sure you're in some of these readers groups. Make sure you're part of, what is it, Black Fiction Addiction. I think you even do a mailing list as well, Gwen.
Yes.
You know, they can pay.
Clubs.
And you've been in this industry for 20 years,
yes.
which means you have avid readers on speed dial, as well as AALBC. If you're Black authors, Black Fiction Addiction, AALBC, Black Authors Matter, you know, Cush City, all of these things that you can do yourself, especially if you're a Black author. Some of these publishing houses, they know, they have social media teams. They know how to work the digital footprints of getting your book out there. But you got to understand, who is their audience? Who is their audience? You've got to make sure your book connects with our audience. That means you're going to have to spend a little money. That means you're going to have to spend a little time.
Yeah. Well, you're investing in yourself, and you have to be willing to do that.
If you want other people to invest in you, you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
But with that said, though, can you talk a little bit? You're in the groups just like I am. And you hear people saying all the time that they want an agent, they want a big book deal. But can we talk about what an agent does not do? Because sometimes people go into a relationship with an agent expecting certain things when they don't realize what an agent actually does.
What we do is we talk with you to see what your goals and dreams are and your aspirations. Some people come, oh, I want to deal with Simon & Schuster, or I want to deal with this house. Come with your targets in mind. What books in your genre have made it to the top of the food chain? Watch those authors. See what the publishers have done for that. Did they send them on tour? Did they do certain things, put them in certain magazines? All of these different things. Watch your idols, so to speak. See what is being done with people at the top of the food chain in your genre. Also, what we don't do is we don't charge. We don't make money until you make money. So don't fall for people saying, you know, I'll charge a reader's fee or thing. No, we don't do that. Right. We're also not publicists. Our goal is to package your work, talk to you, figure out where we want to go, target certain acquisitions editors, prepare it, whether it's the proposal, if it's nonfiction or self-help, it's a proposal, whether it's the sample chapters, whether the pitch letter, we send it into the acquisitions editors. We do have some connections sometimes with them because we've already landed deals with them.
Right.
So we can just walk that in. But also too, we're in the pile with all the other agents trying to get their stuff in. So we have to make sure your work stands out. A good hook, an opening hook. Let's take, for instance, behind me, you see My Time in the Sun, opening hook. I cut him until I felt better. Now that will make your eyebrows go like, whoo.
Now, was this a metaphorical cut, or was this an actual cut?
This was a real cut.
Nice.
So my thing is,
you cut.
but you have to have a good opening hook. And in your bio, we don't want to know about the cats and the dogs and the kids. We want to know about any awards. Why should we invest our time in you in the sense that you have any awards, you have any accolades? That's the time to show your shine right then and there. But it's the book itself. And be open and be flexible. I say this all the time. Do not give us the book of your heart. If it's a book that you have and it's here, it's almost like how you say when you clench a penny so tight, Lincoln starts crying. If that's the way you feel about your book, don't give it to an agent, because when we give it to a major publishing house, number one, we are going to have some suggestions of changes. Then they're going to probably have some suggestions of changes. But if you're so here and you go back and forth with them about the work, you become difficult to work with. Remember, they believe, whether you feel it or not, they believe they know what's best for this book and how to position it to get sold, because they don't make money until that book sells. So they're positioning it to sell. They're not cutting out chapters or cutting this, that, and the third, or revising stuff just to hurt you. No, they're not trying to, unless it is something you absolutely cannot live with. And that's what I say when I look at contracts. Is there anything in this contract that you cannot live with? That's the thing. That's when you know you can walk away and say, well, hey, this, that, but not if it's changing some words here or there, or getting it edited properly so it can fit whatever genre that we're trying to sell. You might have wanted book club fiction, but it may need to be commercial fiction, or, maybe need to be a rom-com. You understand what I'm saying? So they know it on their end. That's their job. Let them do their job. Wynn just said bye.
No, to be honest, my nose was itching and I didn't want to do it on screen.
Okay, let's just all do it. There we go. We can all do it together.
Yeah.
That was it. I tried to hold out, but sometimes when something you gotta scratch.
This is true.
Don't let it be when you're sleeping though. Because then you get it and it feels good. You wake all the way up and you can't go back to sleep.
The social book club made a good point. They said they like a little info about the author because it makes it relatable to the reader. So I tell authors all the time to be social on social media, because often readers like to feel like they know the author, especially when they really like the book. They want to be able to engage with the author. The late, great Eric Jerome Dickey, he was always on social media.
Oh my God, yeah.
He'd be cracking jokes. I remember one time he was making comments about the Soul Train Awards. This, of course, that was a long time ago. But the fact is, people want to feel like they're buddies and they're friends with their authors, with the authors. Like to
but
read.
Also boundaries, because sometimes
boundaries.
Readers can go in the opposite direction and become too familiar, and they can have a certain level of expectation. And when you don't meet it, then they get ticked off, and all of a sudden you're getting bad reviews. And have a certain level of boundary. Like for me, people can probably tell when it's me posting some things. But my VPA, and if you need a virtual personal assistant, you can hit me up, because this woman, Angela, is amazing. She actually only does my clients in tribes, but she has some openings. But she keeps us, I don't know sometimes what she's posted till all of a sudden I start seeing some activity. I'm like, ooh, let's go see what she posted today.
See what I said. Let me go see what I said.
Yeah, right. And the thing about it is she understands. She understands the algorithm, when to post, and then if we need new material, she'll come to us for that. Keeping your digital footprint hot is very, very important, because they will look at that. They will look at that. And I've had that happen to me, that there are some people got rejections. They love the book and they say it's a little too early in her platform, or a little too early in this platform, or they need more. I get those rejections. So I'm not saying it to be funny or just make things hard. I'm just telling you how it is.
Yeah, some people will say, and it depends on what you do for a living, or the industry that you're in, or you're trying to break into. They'll say, I'm not on social media. Well, the problem with that is that's where the people are. So if you're not there, then how do you connect with people? You can't physically meet all the people that you can connect with via social media. And social media is connecting people with similar interests.
Exactly.
Yeah, but with that being the case though, know where your audience is because different audiences are on different social media platforms. So if your audience is skews to be younger, you might not want to be on Facebook as much. You may, or you can be on Facebook, but maybe you're advertising more on TikTok or Instagram because your audience is there and not so much on Facebook. You could be advertising your book on Facebook, but if all your friends are 50 and older, but you're writing to a 20 and 30-year-old demographic, they may not be
May not
resonating.
be
Your book
there.
may not be resonating with them.
And Facebook is old trend older. It doesn't have to be old, but it trends older because
Oh,
we can
my
see
daughter says
our.
old people are on Facebook.
They do, but we look at our. I guess and when you're young, when you're in your 20s, everybody's old.
Yeah.
30 something is old. So, but they show you your stats. They show you your insights on who your audience is. So, for example, the book festivals page, and we're close to 100,000 on it. 99.5. Our audience is 70% female. The age is 30, 25 and up, and it gets more. It's the three groups that are the biggest are 35 to 45, 45 to 55, and 65 up. Those are the people who are in their higher income years, and that's who we want to talk to. Now we are on Instagram, that's growing, but our
If I'm following you.
Facebook page we really invested in,
No, I'm
and
following you guys on Facebook. Let me see if I got y'all on. Is it Black Lives Matter TV?
It's National Black Book Festival.
Hold on, let me see. National.
Yeah, that's where we do everything from our National Black Book Festival
Black
page.
Book Fest? Okay,
National Black Book Festival. Now on Instagram it's National Black Book Fest.
I'm here. So
but on Facebook it's National Black Book Festival.
Yeah.
So and then it shows you the cities that have the most people that come to your page. It shows you the countries that and we have mostly the United States, but we're also, I think the second one is England, and then Kenya was high on the list. Canada, we have a lot of people in Canada that come to our page. And so but age wise we're 35 and up, which we're fine with. But Rhonda is correct. If you are trying to reach a younger audience, they're not going to be on Facebook. My daughter has a Facebook page, but she really only looks at it when I tag her.
At least she's listening to mama.
At least she's doing that. We are almost at the end of our time, Lissa. So let people know if they have a project that they think you might be interested in, how can they reach you?
You can go to my website, naleinakai.com, spelled by my name, NALEIGHNAKAI.com. And also join the mailing list. Also, you can also follow me on Instagram, follow my Facebook page. There is a link in my IG page that takes you to my Sociotap and all the places that you can find me. But yeah, I'm also on Query Tracker. So if you go there, and don't just hang your hat on one agent. Look to see what other agents that are also searching for what you're writing at this point in time. But be open, be flexible, be diligent.
Okay.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why this lady is going to be one of my guest speakers at the Black History Month Literary Weekend.
Yeah. Well, Lissa, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And we hope you have continued success because you wear a whole bunch of hats, and you're good at all of them. So that's great.
Thank you.
Okay, have a great evening.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye now.
Bye. Well, we didn't get a chance to do the trivia question because we just didn't. So we will give the book away next week. I didn't even chance to post it because when you went off, then but I'm not gonna blame it on that. I'm gonna just say we didn't. So next week we'll give away this book and just keep hope alive. So anyway, that's it for this week. We are out. And we'll be back next Tuesday for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV. I'm Gwen Richardson, your host, signing off.
And I'm Dr. Rhonda Lawson. Have a wonderful evening and a great week.
Thank you for tuning in, and join us next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Black Authors Matter TV.